Thanks, Dale. As everybody's alluded to and stuff, just to give a little background, our main production data center, we've actually used extensive economizer 100% for over 6,000 hours annually now for almost 4 years extensively. We work very closely with our IT partnership, and they have seen no extra failures outside of normal operations prior to us, the years prior to us, using the outside air economization. So that was a big significant thing for us, and we see it as a win. And as the data actually suggests, there's really no, between the particles and the gases contamination, we're not bringing in a lot of extra outside stuff that apparently is hanging up a lot of my peers in the industry for doing this to save the energy. Based on this data, one of the other things that we actually do a lot of at NetApp is we actually provide a lot of tours on the IT side and on the facility side, and a combination thereof for a lot of our customers, potential customers, industry experts, and alike. So on the average, we probably do 5 tours a week that we bring people through the data centers and show them. One of the questions that started coming up primarily this last year was, well, okay, have you participated in any of these studies? Do you do any sampling? So we took a proactive approach. Actually, this last year, my director and I, Ralph Rennie, we actually presented at Labs 21, and we found this product from Aircuity that does continuous monitoring of not only particulates, but also TVOCs and a lot of the sulfide compounds and chlorides and a whole bunch of others. And basically what we found, it matches a lot of the study that the guys have done here, is we're not seeing, and we actually increased, we actually did their suggestion, we moved up to MERV 11 filters now in the data center. And we're not seeing, so now we're continuously 24/7, 365, and we have it integrated to our building automation system. And this is a screenshot. I know it's kind of hard to see, but if anybody, these are actually going to be distributed and downloaded after the fact. You see the details. It shows this particular company actually measured it in million parts per cubic feet. And if you do the conversion, it is down there where all the rest of the measurements they were looking at, it's in the low and very low range of a continuous particulate counts, and our TVOCs are extremely low. There's very little coming from the outside. We actually have multiple sensors. We have one that's actually a true outside sensor point in our mechanical space, which is prior to the filters going into the data center areas and in the data center area space themselves. So that was really big and significant, and it helped prove on a sustainability level that we are not seeing any issues whatsoever in our labs and data centers. And here's some of the trend. It's kind of a zoomed in of the trend. You can see when the economizers open up more. And but from a sustainability standpoint, we see this trended out, and here's basically 2 months worth of trending for that space. And again, it goes down to we're in the low and the very low range. So putting this all together and summarizing it up between our IT partners and ourselves, we're seeing very little failures in the IT equipment, which their refresh rate just kind of matches everybody else in the industry, which is 3 to 5 year cycles on average. So we're not seeing any whiskering come into effect or anything else or abnormal things like that. Standard MERV 11 2-inch pleated filters. There's nothing special about them. We're not utilizing the low DP pressure across them. It's just a standard. We're not spending any more for filters, a MERV 7 to a MERV 11 from a cost standpoint, so there was no increase in cost. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I know these are probably a little bit hard to see, but I kind of wanted to talk more about the system thing, kind of tie this all together, that from an end user standpoint, it kind of validates all the studies And what it's coming back to, that there's really no reason not to do outside air economization from a gaseous contaminant standpoint, a particle contamination standpoint. We're not seeing it in the data center. We've got 4 years of runtime of over 6,000 hours to justify that, and us saying that. The next slide's kind of hard to see, but the system that we chose with Air Acuity, here it gives the details of the different sensors that are on board the system and monitors it. One of the other things that we're going to proactively do is with the particulate air sampling, we're actually going to send it out on a quarterly basis and do microscopy on it to do the analyzation of the particles that we are capturing. Because we want to know more detail just from our own curiosity standpoint. Not that there's any issues with it, but it's just to further better our analysis and recommendations that there's really no reason from an end user standpoint that we as an industry and end users should not be taking advantage of this for our energy efficiency measures and stuff like that, because it does save energy. Anybody can tell you the best chiller plant is one that's turned off that's going to save you the most energy, and that's really what we do. Is we about 2.5 months out of the year between fall and winter, the chiller plant doesn't even come on. It does not run 24 hours a day. So that's going to give you the bulk of what you want to know, what you want to see. The other thing we added in here was we actually monitor the carbon monoxide, because we do have parking spaces around some of these data centers and labs. So one of the other kind of ancillary concerns was, well, what about car emissions as they're pulling in and parking? We're monitoring that too, and it's almost flatline. It's very negligible. So, again, we think we've tried to address the majority of these issues. We're very comfortable with our findings. We now have a continuous onboard monitoring system in 2 of our main data centers across the campus that utilize outside air economization. The one that this graph is off of, its actual basis of design is to run 95% of the year off of outside air with no mechanical cooling. That's what we designed it to. So it fully utilizes outside air all the time. So, kind of helping tie this all back together, we really are very happy with the findings that we're seeing so far. We've got 2.5 months worth of trend data since we've actually fully deployed these and put them in. And we're not seeing anything spiking up that is not within the low and very low range. All of our particles puts us well within the ISO class 8 classification, from the 0.2 to the 5 range. So I think we're well underneath anybody's concerns that addresses that. So we feel very comfortable with it, and we're more than happy to share any of this information, provide tours, anybody that would like to come and see as we continue to do. So, thanks.